It is. First time ever. You're live. Awesome. Okay.
Yep, we sure are.
Now I'm going to go over here.
This is right here.
Find me a thing.
Yeah.
Alright. We just talked up live. Something like we're doing it live.
Cheers, we're live.
Okay. What is this going on? Oh.
We got a
It's
monitor
too
and everything.
dark.
Look at us.
It's too dark.
It's rather dark, I suppose.
It is way too dark.
Well, it is night at sunset. It's sunset at sunset? It's
Well, I just blame the camera.
Post-sunset at sunset.
I blame the camera on the...
Well, you know, it is a film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an 807.
Anyways, I hope you can see me over there. Why would Wendy check it when he shows up?
Hey, oh. No. We pick up,
At PickupDaily.
You're right, PickupDaily.
Pick up daily.
Live 001. Exclamation point. Go. Live. 3, 2, 1, it says. Okay. I think I can do this. No, see, it's way too dark for Facebook.
That's quite alright.
Alright.
For a back.
Anyways,
Alright.
that's
All right.
fine. Facebook doesn't care.
We got a
anyway.
lot of space up here. That's awesome.
Well, that one's fine. That's the one on YouTube. You're
Got
the
it.
one wanted to do YouTube.
Alright, yeah. All
That
right.
one has the good aperture and everything. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Pickup Daily Live. We got Jerry over there,
Hi, guys.
AshFire, and oh well, this motherfucker over here. Today Jerry decided that we should go live, except for the one for the Facebook one. The camera is just total shit. Hold on. We better? We're kind of better. Okay. Anyways, he decided that we should. Close your eyes.
You might get burned. Boo.
So he decided that we should go live because apparently it's what all the kids are doing these days.
Yes.
So here we are. Wanted to talk today about relationships, about moving from pickup into the beginning stages of relationships, the importance of communication, and how sex plays into it all, because you were busy telling all of your stories. So yeah, we're gonna do this a little free form. I'll probably come up with a bunch more stuff from the Twitter feed from like next week when I have better plans.
Yes, because this is the first time. We're still trying to figure this out.
The first time's always awkward, but you know, we deal with it, so.
Right.
You gotta get through the first time.
After
to
like
get to the second
100,
time.
we'll get a green screen and it'll be really cool.
Yeah, maybe some lights. 'Cause
Teleprompter.
this is dark as fuck.
Right.
But yeah. So, Jerry,
Yeah, well, we want to talk about relationships. Beginning of a relationship.
as we're talking about pickup, right? Pickup is as a nomenclature. Pickup, as it was originally described by the guys who codified it, he said it was the first 7 to 10 hours that you knew somebody. And that's cumulative. Like if you can meet her one night and then you spend a half hour there, then you spend 2 hours on a date, and right? That whole stage while you're building rapport and connection, that's like the first 7 to 10 hours, and then after that it moves into dating, courtship. Like there's other terms that they use for that. We focused on this channel a whole lot of pickup.
The first few hours.
Yeah, and not so much into what really becomes the core of things, is the communication, dealing with each other's idiosyncrasies, getting each other's
Well, the evolution of what becomes deeper connection with you and who you're with.
Sure. And a lot of guys are having problems making that transition. A lot of girls have problems making that transition because they get really good at starting things and working until things get difficult, and then it sort of starts to dissipate. And there's this tendency to kind of run when you find that somebody's not as compatible as you wish they were, rather than sticking in and trying to make it work.
Right.
And there's a delicate balance between, you know, letting yourself sit around, get abused, or having problems in your relationship, and putting the work in to actually, you know, move it to the next level beyond the whole evaluative phase.
I totally agree with that. and it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be some kind of issue we're going to have to deal with when it comes to a real relationship, as opposed to just picking up girls, one-night stands. And after the honeymoon stage is over, that's when you start to learn the issues, the problems that you're going to have to deal with, especially incompatibility. You know, maybe one of you might put the cap on the toothpaste and the other one doesn't. You know, and that becomes an issue.
Which way the toilet paper rolls.
Yes, yes. Or would you put the roll on the toilet paper? You know, there's so many of these little teeny things that nobody thinks about.
Oh, it's so true.
They're such a major problem. They shouldn't be.
Washing the dishes.
Oh yeah, you don't even go near taking out the trash and shit like that.
Okay, so we're dealing with roommate issues here. Okay, but more so, what about the transition between, okay, this is fun, this is puppy love, this is infatuation, and then we're starting to get in the nitty gritty, you know, like.
Right, the buzz is starting to wear off.
Maybe it's not, but you still got to do the things like meet the family and, you know, unpack the baggage. You know.
Well, it's always an awkward thing, you know, when you're trying to figure out what the chemistry is between you and the person you're trying to be with. I mean, from personal experience, it's just really more of putting aside what is superficial and less important. Like, you know, the fucking is great. You got laid. Maybe you have a deeper connection. You want to explore it, and then it becomes like what we were talking about, the fight or flight. You know, when you come across a certain issue that creates discord or a difference of opinion, you know, how much effort do you really want to put into staying true to who you are while still trying to compliment the other person?
Right.
I feel is kind of an issue as well. You know, where do you leave your pride behind and you know, go from the one night stand mentality into, okay, cool, this is someone that I may be able to share, you know, a longer term with, whether it's lifelong or hopefully as long as it can go.
Right. Yes, and you need to then make sure that, like, you're gonna try to have a meaningful relationship with somebody, and you just, you know, nothing works. You're not getting along. You know, you don't like the same things. You don't eat the same things. You'd rather want to go to different places, but that ass though, and so you stay for that. It's you really got to decide. You know, is that ass worth everything else?
Sushi versus hamburgers.
Right, and like, do you actually want to do this on a monthly basis and live with this person, or deal with this person every time for that ass?
Well, I feel like it boils down to a point of honesty, right? You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with the other person.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You got to be honest with yourself, you know.
I mean, and don't be shitty. You can be honest with yourself, but you don't have to be shitty to the other person, because it's all a matter of, okay, cool, well, this doesn't vibe for me. You know, but you love that ass. So it's like, you know, is she starting to find something more, some more realness in this because you're putting up a front, so to speak. You're putting up with the shit because you want that ass, and she's like, oh my god, well, you're the guy, but you're really not the guy because you just want that ass.
Right.
So honesty, right? So you gotta, it boils down to, after you pass that stage of, not necessarily honeymoon, but, you know, the fucking is great, the dating is great, the learning about each other is great, but while you're learning about her, you're learning about yourself as well.
Right.
It all boils down to honesty. That's really the line.
It's true.
I feel.
I totally agree. The reason I brought that up is because I've seen this so many times. These guys have these relationships with these girls, and you just can tell this is not going to work long term, and they should just move on because they could be missing somebody else out that would be viable for them and make them much happier, whether that ass is good or not.
Well, have you heard of, forgive me, were you about to say something?
No.
Okay, well, have you guys heard of, I feel like you have heard of the 80-20 rule?
No, sure. Pareto principle.
I feel, yeah, exactly. I feel like that may be putting the cart before the horse a little bit, because we're kind of diving a little bit deeper, but I feel like the 80-20 rule is still applicable in your day-to-day experiences because it's, you know, the grass is always greener, right? So you have something good, you have something solid. You know, the physical chemistry is great. Let's say the emotional chemistry is getting there, the intellectual connection is there as well. But if you have that mentality of I can always find someone better, I can always find something better, then you're potentially missing out on something that's already great. Are you ever going to have the whole pie, or can you settle for a good majority of it? I feel like that's the problem a lot of people face.
I think it kind of breaks down that you can't tell the future. We're not freaking fortune tellers,
Of
you know.
course.
We're not.
And you know what may fit me right now may not fit me 6 months from now. As I'm continuing to grow, we might grow in different directions,
Absolutely.
or whatever. So
Absolutely.
there's that danger of settling down and making promises that are impossible to keep as your identity continues to shift and continues to grow. As you two as people make a promise to each other, it's important not to make big ideological promises that go all the way to the end right away, right in the very beginning. You know, there should be a kind of a natural progression to giving way and working out communication issues on a base level, and then moving up and moving up. You know, it should be progressive.
I feel like making promises is almost a falsification to each other as a species, as a race. You can't. It's exactly that. You can't tell the future. You can't tell the things that the hurdles that you're going to jump in the near and present future of your life aren't going to change you, and whatever situation that could happen, whatever you may incur, someone's going to handle it differently than you. We're all bred differently, and as circumstances present themselves, whether you're a run and gun or prepare for the worst, as some people call it, racing to the bottom, you know, that may be construed as a negative connotation when someone's trying to be positive and waiting for the best possible outcome. These things always conflict. And it all boils down to, okay, cool, well, I'm being honest and true to who I am, and they're being honest and true to who they are. Can you guys come to a compromise, or do you automatically give up?
Right. And, you know, there's a danger, like, a lot of people they'll say, look, there's a certain time where you just got to freaking double down and take what you got. You know, you can't just be looking into the horizon always for the grass is greener, like you were saying earlier. And, you know, that's got to be different for everybody. But as we grow up, we sort of, if we're honest with ourselves, like you were saying, we can determine very quickly whether we're compatible with somebody, whether we're not, what we're willing to work on, what we're not, and then it becomes kind of a task just to be honest and communicative in a way that will let the other person know what they're dealing with, what, you know, as well.
Absolutely.
The communication, of course, guys, is totally key. And I appreciate a partner that just tell me straight out everything. Like, not right away, but, you know, as the situation arises, if she is not comfortable with the situation, or she likes it more than I even thought, and she wants me to, like, focus on that more, then I can make her happier, and it would benefit both of us. So you always want to know communication is a paramount point in every relationship out there.
Well, see, and here's the shitty thing about that is that you can't be accountable for what decision she's making in the relationship, because you have to assume that she's also being honest. If she's not being honest, it's on her. So what my principal statement might be to you guys is just be honest with yourselves and be honest with your partners, whoever it is that you're trying to evolve with. And at the end of the day, you're not responsible for the decisions that they've made, because let's be real, women like to regress a lot. They like to take back a lot of things.
Yes, they do.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
Difficult for us.
Exactly. It becomes a challenge, and it becomes you know, peaks and valleys, right? So that's a valley that a lot of us come across, and it's you know, if you're staring up at the mountain and you're trying to get back up it and you're trying to succeed, right, as most men like to do, and me, I'm definitely androgynous and like to believe that I'm the man in the relationship, right? So I will always fight. It's in my nature. I'm always going to find a solution, and sometimes in my relationship, it feels like I'm the only one doing it, but at the end of the day, I have the support of my partner, and you have to know that you have their support. If it feels like you don't have their support, then they're not being honest, and you can't be held accountable for that.
Right.
Well, let's touch on that honesty thing real fast. It's like it's all
real fast.
Yeah, it's all well and good to be all self-helpy and be like, yeah, you got to be honest with yourself and you got to be honest with your partner and everybody's got to be communicating. Because communication is key, bruh. Like, yeah, no,
Definitely
yeah. But at the end of the day, much of relationship, especially in the younger years, is about exploration. It's about discovery. It's about finding who you are in the mirror of the other person. It's not necessarily like you know everything you want and you know all of your boundaries and you know all your goals, and then you just sort of put it out there. They put it out there. You guys sign the contract and it's over. Like,
do me a favor. Elaborate a little bit more on what you just said about what you. I'm sorry. The words that you used were what you see as a mirror in the other person.
Sure.
Elaborate on that a little bit, because I feel like that could be misconstrued in a negative way for the people that are watching.
Negative or positive. It's really just, it's kind of a Buddhist concept, part of that whole mindfulness stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like you and you are bashing your communication up against another person. And they're sort of speaking back to you, and what you see in those interactions is kind of what you project. It's just, you sort of get what you put in. And a lot of times we're out there having relationships hoping to discover something.
Yes.
Create something new that we haven't seen before. It's kind of the tingliness of an infatuation level type of relationship. And doing all of that, because we don't know where we're at, communication is more nuanced. It's not like I told the truth this morning and I'm telling the truth now. It's more like this is what's applicable right now in this context.
Yes, no, I agree 100%, but I think the misconception a lot of people have in general is that I'm very much against the two halves of a whole thing. So when you say something like the mirror of yourself and another person, I don't disagree that we are all connected, and this kind of gets into a spiritual realm, which we don't have to dive into, but
Nope.
knowing very much that, knowing very much that you are very independent. We're in a perpetual state of learning. Every day in our relationships, within ourselves, we're learning who we are and what we like and what we don't and what is true. Perception is reality. So finding the truth in a situation does not affect the other person's truth in the situation that you may be facing together. So when you're speaking from a very logical perspective, as most men do, right, we speak in a term of truth and very logical, black and white. Look,
it is what it is.
It is exactly. It is what it is. She may be deciphering it or defining it in a situation where, well, what you're saying may be right, but it hurts me. And then people compromise who they are to acquiesce to the needs of what she wants, and then suddenly we're wrong. This is why men are always wrong. Right?
Sure. I mean, compromise doesn't have to be destructive.
It doesn't. No, not at all. But a lot of women like to make it destructive.
Compromise is all part of the relationship process. What you're saying is,
it's not always fair.
Yeah.
Compromise is not always fair, and that's something we have to expect. But again, boiling down to the truth of the matter is, are you compromising who you are, or are you compromising for the relationship?
Right.
I think that is the keynote statement in trying to figure out where you stand in your relationship, and is your relationship going to make it in the beginning stages, in the infancy stages, right? Of course, because problems will always happen and compromise will always be a thing. There's never a situation where it's going to be one way or the other.
Right. What do you do? So you said, do you compromise who you are, or you compromise for the relationship? When you feel like you have to compromise who you are, would you? Will you? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely not. I will not compromise who I am for my relationship. I'm sorry. I will not compromise who I am for the sake of an argument or a conflict. But you can always address things in a situation in a way that you can get your point across without being argumentative, without creating more conflict. You can compromise to find a solution, not compromise your character.
That's what I think too.
Thank you. That was a
Yeah.
good dive into the psyche. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows, like, we do a lot of compromising. So compromise for the relationship, but never compromise for yourself. That is just going to put a crack in the relationship.
Well, because then that's again a falsification. That's not you being honest.
Exactly.
So
Okay,
you're
well,
always gonna be-
you guys are both touching on this subject that it seems like truth, right? It seems like, oh yeah, that sounds right, yeah. But like, on the nitty gritty, what's the difference if we're always in flux, right? And we don't necessarily know our entire identity at one time, we're kind of discovering, right?
Well, of course. So
Right.
it's subjective in the moment, right? If you feel like it's not compromising your beliefs or the way you've run your life, the things that have made. So it's a difference of knowing whether you're succeeding in life or you're failing. If you're failing in life, whether it's your finances, your emotional status, or your friendships, then you know that maybe there's something you need to compromise to make yourself better. And again, success is also subjective because people have a perception of where they are and the relationships that they have. I feel like I have a really close-knit group of friends that understand where I'm coming from and can discern the difference between when I'm lying to myself or when I'm telling the truth. That if I make a compromise to, let's say, when I make a compromise to find a solution, I'm not compromising who I am. Does that make
Right,
sense?
so I don't think that there's a difference. Let me just put this out there, because you're going to rip off it for like 5 minutes, right?
Sorry.
So, no, that's why you're here. But here's the deal. Like, if you compromise, period. This is what I think, right? Like, if I put forth a strong position, and then I back off that position, that's a compromise, period. In our relationship, in my identity, and whatever. There are some that are going to eat into sort of my core belief systems and values. And my best partner is going to pull me into a better version of my core beliefs and values. They're going to change that internally.
Yes, I
Right?
agree.
And so that's what you were saying about success and what that's subjective. Like, is that beneficial or is it not beneficial to who you are, right? That's the thing. But how do you monitor that in a real time so that when you're caught up in the emotions, that you know the difference between taking yourself out of the equation and, you know, going too far? Where's that gray zone?
So I'm actually really glad that you brought that up because I feel like, so this is an opportunity to clarify. I feel like there's a compromise. There's a difference between compromise and challenge. When you have a partner that challenges, whether it's a friend, family, or a relationship partner, I feel like there's a difference between compromising who you are and being challenged to be better. So all of this, again, is in a situation where, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. If you're not being beaten down, or being beaten down to be rebuilt. Sometimes people like to just beat the shit out of you because they have nothing better to do. But when people beat the shit out of you with questions to say, okay, cool, I understand what you're saying to a point, but let me ask you this question and define it, and then that's where the personal evolution comes in, where, again, just now we had a dialogue where you were explaining your part of it, and I'm like, yes, that's what I meant. So now I know a better way to articulate it. So that makes us better. That makes us better for other people as well. It makes us better together and better for other people. So I feel like there's a difference between challenging who you're with to be better as opposed to combating them. There's a difference between right fighters and people that want to create a solution.
Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy.
100%.
One of my buddies, Eddie, he was just saying, he said that compromise should be from your own will. What's up? Did I cut you off?
No,
I cut you off.
Say
no,
Ed.
not at all.
Eddie.
I'm in total agreement with Ed.
Hey,
Alright,
Ed.
yeah.
Ed. Hi, Ed.
He said that compromise should come from your own will and not out of guilt or obligation, right? Which sounds true on the surface, right? But when you make promises like you know, we're gonna fight together forever, or we're gonna make sure that we communicate and not not leave the point of an argument until we find a solution, or whatever you agree on, then you've created an obligation that you've agreed on, right?
Yeah.
And then you're forced to compromise out of obligation.
Correct.
Right? So what's the difference there?
That's foolishness.
That's foolishness.
It's foolishness.
Making promises is foolish.
I know it sounds crazy, but making promises is foolish. I can't even stress that point enough, because let's be real, in this generation, in this day and age, the kids that are my age or younger, how many of their parents are still together based on promises that they have made 20 plus years ago to be together forever, to get through all the arguments, to make all the compromises? At some point that failed because people stopped trying.
Okay.
Because people want instant gratification, so they'll compromise who they are to sustain that instant gratification. And then one day it just becomes too much, and they're like, peace out, I'm done, I'll learn to miss you. But
Or
they
the
really
other way
don't.
around, where they stay together forever, but they're fucking miserable for 35 years.
And it
or
affects
whatever.
the kids, and then the kids don't know how to have real sustainable relationships. No one knows how to really fight for what's right anymore. People just want to fight to be together because they feel like being together is right. Where in human nature, man is the only being that knows he's alone.
Okay, you're getting real philosophical
Sorry.
on me here.
I apologize. We won't get that deep. We won't get that far. I mean, just read a little bit of George Bernard Shaw and you'll get there. But I'm just saying, like,
You also want to hurt yourself, self-harm.
Well, no, that's not the solution. That's not the answer to anything. No. But at the end of the day, I feel like it really comes to knowing what your core values are as an individual and being true to those values, knowing what you can and what are the negotiables in a relationship. What are you willing to, if you come up with a list that's your personal goals, your career goals, and your relationship goals, if you get to that situation with your partner, of course we're talking about just fresh out of a one-night stand. So, I mean, in reality, this isn't feasible for the people that we're gearing this conversation towards. But if you come up with that list, those three things, career goals, personal goals, and relationship goals, if they match, what?
She's got a whole self-development seminar.
Sorry, I apologize.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just, like we're marveling at you, Tony Robbins.
Like, why are we here?
This is called Daily Pickup with Ashley. AshFire. It's just, you'll burn. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like if you know what you can and cannot compromise, as long as you're being true to yourself, you got to know what are negotiables and what aren't negotiables. Like kids, kids in a relationship, once you've gotten to that point, like, look, you got to address it early in a relationship, especially with women. Like, I don't want kids, or I do want kids. Is this it, or is this out? Is that a make or break? Dogs, cats, whatever. I don't know. I'm just going to sit here and sip my
This whole relationship thing sounds like a lot of work. I don't think I ever want to do this. Guys, just go with the pickup thing, and you'll probably be better off.
When it burns up, just start over.
Just set that sail away and just.
When y'all are 45 and ready to settle down, you can come talk to me. I'll got you.
All right. So how do you know then? I'll ask Jerry this. He's got the most experience in the game.
Okay.
How do you know when you're doing the pickup thing, you're starting into the beginning of the thing, you get through your first couple sexual experiences, then what? Right? How do you know when you're going to keep moving something on? How do you evaluate? Like, what's your process of eval? Okay, next level into this. Okay, I'm willing to start sacrificing a little bit more. I'm willing to work on the compromise.
Right.
thing.
First of all, you have to look inside yourself and notice how you feel about this person when you get a text, or when you see this person roll up, or you see their car at your place when you pull up. Are you excited about this? Are you melancholy about it? Are you like, oh fuck? So once we get to that, once you decide that you're excited about it still, then you want to keep moving on. You want to keep spending your energy and focus on this, because that is something that should keep going. Whereas if you ever get to, you're like, oh no man, I really don't want to deal. It's pretty much, unless you're having a really bad day and you're just not feeling it, you need to reevaluate the whole situation. But once you're feeling good about it, and what's the next step? The next step is to just put sex aside for a night and go out and be with that person and have a conversation.
Put sex aside?
Yeah, what's the point of that?
For like 2 hours.
Okay.
Trust me,
you gotta help me out here.
Trust
Jerry.
me. If you have a really good rapport and a good conversation, and you're getting to know each other better, and things are clicking, it's gonna happen later. I'm saying get that out of your mind for a couple hours until you can actually spend
Think
time
with your
with this
actual
person.
brain.
If you can do that, yes. Guys, a little trouble because there's a couple brains. You need to put the little guy away and just.
Hey, who you calling little?
Bro.
And then go ahead and see what develops from there. And you need to do this probably
A few
few times in like a week, maybe.
Oh,
And
man.
keep motivating. I know it's a little tough. Maybe once a week.
Depends on
Once
what
a
you're
month?
thinking, or
I don't-
how often you're seeing the person. Sure.
True, exactly. That's true. That's true.
But then again, if you're seeing her more, then obviously it's a little easier to move
Yes,
forward.
and you
faster.
both want to see each other.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. Want to see each other. I mean, you have to stop thinking about the end game for a minute, and definitely see if you do take sex out of the equation, is it.
Yeah,
If it
is
means
the game
something,
over?
yeah, exactly. If you take sex out of the equation, if it's not if that ass is great without that ass, then obviously you've got something that could
Right.
potentially bloom.
If you, like I said, are excited to see each other all the time and you're still growing, then so be it. Let's make a relationship out of it. If it's not that, it's just the sex, then it's friends with benefits, and just and have that conversation and make that happen.
Hell, just benefits.
And hopefully you'll get that, and then you can move on to something else.
We have enough friends. Let's just make benefits.
People with benefits, yeah, don't even think about friends. Just
At
follow
that
it.
point, friends with. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna stop. Hey.
What
Did I answer the question, or
Sounds good to me, man.
Okay, good. You're like, I don't know what he said, but that's
I think we're coming up with an outline for the next one because
true.
we're really good at talking, but
Yeah, we don't know if we're teaching anything. About
yeah,
it, do we?
answering any questions is anyways. So we got ourselves a communication structure. You know how we teach it, kind of in the field, is that we come up with what we call qualifiers, kind of like
Yes.
boundaries and things that would be nice to have, things that are definitely deal breakers in our relationships. And then we sort of tell those stories and see how the other person responds as kind of an evaluative thing. So like when you're on a date, like the whole point of a date is eval. The whole point of a date is to see if they're qualified to move to the next level.
Right, very much so.
And it doesn't have to be an interview and a rapid fire question game, but that's when you start saying, okay, this is who I am, this is what I'll tolerate, this is how I feel about these subjects, or do we have common interests, do we not, can we fight well, what's going on? You know?
Right.
So as far as a transition, wait, you're live, sitting here in front of us, now you're watching? Yeah, so, how do you make that, knowing what you want or knowing what would be nice to explore, whether you're in discovery mode or if you're in, like, I pretty much know what I will and won't tolerate, you can still come up with things and then and give them out in a date types format and see how they respond and look for their responses in a way that lets you evaluate. And if you have a sort of framework that you'll say, okay, well, this date is over since she likes torturing animals, I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, but not everything is that black and white. So
I feel like Jerry made a great point, though. I think at the end of the day, it's if you can have a date with this person and put the sex aside, and really find out if you have a genuine fire, a genuine connection with this person, that ultimately determines what your truth is about the situation.
I do.
I feel like you shouldn't evaluate anybody. Just see if you can put sex aside if it's still cool. Is that what you just said?
No, not at all. No, I'm sorry. what I meant to say was, if I alluded to anything different, was that if you have a connection with this person, if you can have an intellectual conversation and connect with them emotionally aside from the physical, then you may have something worth going for. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as complicated as that.
And it's really important. And I'm speaking from experience. When I was younger, and would go out to clubs, I would see a girl, and then we would have a great time in these clubs. We would meet at the clubs, great time, and then after, great, and then we'd do the same thing. But we never really ever went on a one-on-one like, so, what's your last name? We never, but that kept rolling, and that was great. But if you really want to have a real relationship, then you have to at least do a one-on-one sooner or later. But there are relationships out there, I'm speaking from experience, that you never even get to that point. You just keep doing that for months. And it makes it pretty easy, actually, and it's a blast. But if you really want to get serious and make a relationship, you got to get past that point, unfortunately.
So what's your favorite one-on-one evaluative tactic? Your face.
20 questions? I don't really know. It's basically that you are sitting at a table, and you're one-on-one. Nobody is going to interrupt you except for, say, the waitress or the server. And you just say, let's ask each other some questions. Let's see if our lives have any possibility of compatibility. Now, you don't have to say that, but that's basically what the goal is. Let's see how really,
When's the last time you went on an evaluative date, Jerry?
Kind of just happens automatically. When I go on a date, and it just sort of is very relaxed, and it just happens in a conversation. But you're gonna get, like I said, it's gonna be 20 questions. But I'm saying you're not gonna say, let's do 20 questions. It just flows, and the more you're interested in each other, the more questions are gonna come out, and hopefully
organic.
You're gonna learn more. Like, oh yeah, I love that too. Other
organic.
than music and movies, and you're gonna feel that oh, I want to go travel, and yeah, of course everybody does, but do you want to go to Europe? Is that where you like to go, or does she like to go to Southeast Asia? And can we do both? How does that gonna work? I'd much rather go to Europe than Southeast Asia.
Yeah, that's not bad, Alex.
Yeah. Right. But you just find out these things that you would probably not know for a long period of time if you're just going out to clubs and hanging out with them, without just going out on a date and shooting the shit. What about you, Mr. DELAET?
I don't really do dates, man. No, I think it's a little bit more structured.
There's
a lot of
structure
people
involved into this?
No, not necessarily, but a lot of people sort of rely on their feels. Like, oh, I definitely want feels, and if I don't feel it, then I'm not going to stay in it, right? I'm a little bit more evaluative.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm so emotional that, like, any 1 minute can be like this, and the next minute can be like that, and if I fucking relied on it, I would X out most partners in the first 15 minutes, right? So I kind of got to let things play out and see what's going on. And so I asked very specific things. I got deal breakers. I got a whole list of stuff that I won't put up with. The Facebook one's about to die. I don't know about the YouTube one. But this camera sucks anyway. But I have a list of deal breakers, things I won't put up with. Improperly medicated, addicted to narcotics and things like that. I'm not a big fan of those things, and I'll bring those things right up. I'm also polyamorous. I talk about monogamy right away. Make sure that that's not one of your highest goals. Otherwise, we're just not gonna work.
Yeah.
But see, that's exactly it, right? You talk about your non-negotiables. You talk about the things that you can and cannot tolerate, and that's
Sure. Yeah. But I usually do it from a story type thing. I'll tell stories and see how they react. I won't ask them directly. Hey,
Sure.
so what do you think about non-traditional sexual models?
well, of course.
Yeah. You ever been an experience with that like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Granted. Yes.
Right. That's a good way to go about it. I tell you what, how a way I really evaluate, and I hate to use the term evaluate because that sounds
Clinical.
yeah, kind of lame. But I watch the girl and her interactions with people she doesn't know, and I learn so much more when she's talking to somebody else and how she acts with that, and how communicative and how intelligent and how humorous she is, and all those things to me are super duper sexy.
Oh, the best
I'm
way
all
to figure
about
it
it.
out is how she treats your frickin' waiter.
Oh yeah, that's always the thing I always tell about girls when they go on dates. You like this guy? How does he treat the server? Because that's the bottom line. That's the best you're gonna get treated right
People
there.
in service, if you got someone that treats someone in service shitty,
Mm-hmm.
big, you know,
Right there.
oh my god. too
Entitlement,
easy.
and so just bye-bye. I despise entitlement, so that would
Oh yeah,
be
your
something
video's
as well.
coming out like next week on the title.
Oh, did I talk about that?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's right. All right, that's on there too, I guess. See? So you see, it's a thing for me. But that honestly is how I really could tell if I'm really into someone, the way she
Must love
interacts with other
dinosaurs.
people other than me.
I love dinosaurs. I love Jurassic Park.
What happened with dinosaurs?
I don't know. Someone said something about must love dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, deal breakers. Don't love dinosaurs. Get out. Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta love that. Who doesn't love a dinosaur?
Well, there's some girls, man.
Oh well, you know what? Bye-bye.
Yeah, out. And since the Facebook one's about to die, I guess that's a good one to end this
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
inaugural edition.
Yeah, it was over 45 minutes. I think it's time for us to go.
Wow.
Thank
I
you,
can't
my
believe
friend.
people are still watching.
Are they?
They are.
Well, thanks for watching, you guys. I don't know what you're doing, but appreciate the watching our first ever Pickup Daily Live.
Live.
Trust me, it's gonna get better. We're just warming up.
Yeah, I'll bring the lights next time and make the mics actually work. If
That might be beneficial. It may be worse, actually.
Yeah, we'll
But-
see.
Because then you
We'll
can
find
actually hear the bullshit we're trying to
Yes.
say. It's
Yes.
not bullshit, I swear.
And you'll hear all the bodily functions with the mics, and it'll be really good.
I mean, drinking beer.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you for
we do
having
this
us.
on fucking Wednesdays now at what, 8 p.m.
I guess
-ish?
Wednesdays, and we're gonna shoot it around 8 p.m. barring any technical difficulties.
Until next week.
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Here, do something with that later. I don't even know how to turn this thing off. Oh, finish.
Bye.
We were getting comments
point
there, but I
there,
couldn't, so
Duke.
little I
What?
couldn't see what they
You
were
got
saying.
comments?
I'm so sorry.
Awesome.
Good point there is
No, that's-
AshFire
Oh,
pickup
Just talk.
is pickup coach. So see you guys. Bye.
You didn't do